Well, welcome back into the studio. I am getting prepared for next year's art journaling adventure here on YouTube, and I kind of went back and looked through some of my other journals that I've done. This is a paper bag journal called Clean Slate that I worked in 2023, I want to say 2023, and this was so much fun. I had so much fun in this one. I did show how to make the journal, and I do have kits put together for this. I have a couple left. So if you're interested in making yourself this what I call the Clean Slate journal. I still haven't done the cover on it, believe it or not. Anyways, I do have a couple pages left, and I think that's why I haven't done the cover. Maybe I'll use this to do some of the Seek Gather crates in. But anyways, this was that journal. Then 2024, I worked in this yearbook journal. There are still some yearbook kits available. They're all vintage yearbook covers. I did in that series show how to make that, and you can find the playlist links down below in the description box if you're interested in either of these two journal series. And so this is what we've been working in this year. So I'm at that point where I'm going to start to think about what I want to do, and I've been thinking a lot about it, and I really love the way that the Amazon mailers sound and the feel of them. Similar to the paper bag journal, it's soft, it's got that paper feel to it. It's just lovely. And so I kind of want to get kind of back to that, where I'm still it's still a soft journal, but it's got that sound, doesn't it? So I think I'm going to work in this. This is the medium size envelope, so it has a pocket. It could have a pocket. I'm not going to do a pocket on this, I don't think. Maybe. We'll see. Anyways, so I'm thinking about finished size is 7.5 by 11, and the reason why I'm thinking about doing that is because of this pad of finger paint paper that was given to me by my daughter. That's all artwork done by my granddaughter. And I love it. However, and it's 12 by 18, so that would work well for the finished size that I'm looking at. However, these are finger paint paper, is heavyweight, white, glossy paper. And so it's non-absorbent. It's a smooth surface, which is great for finger painting, but not so friendly for mixed media. So I've taken a few pages and tested them and covered them with matte gel medium. And now I have a good, actually no I didn't. I covered them with clear gesso is what I did. And so yes, it's muted some of the colors down a little bit. But only a little bit. It's hardly detectable. it's still her awesome artwork. And then I thought that I could just glue 2 of them together. Oops. Glue 2 of them together like this, and then I would have a nice durable page. So, and I would have some of her artwork to inspire me to do my artwork. So I'm going to go through and pull out a whole bunch that are ones that I don't necessarily want to keep as her artwork. Like there's some in here that are just too good to, like this is her mama and hers handprints. I don't want it. That's like precious to me. Look at these little prints. These are awesome. They do a lot of handprints. Look at this like whole arm here. Anyways, there's some of these that are just too good to put into my artwork. Now that's one that could go in there. We were learning about mud, making mud with paint, or maybe it was just brown paint, I don't know. But anyways, so I'm gonna pick out some that I can put in here as pages along with some other types of pages. Make some under paper, see what I can find. You know, I like a variety, so that is the plan for the inside pages at least. And I have been hoarding some fabric that I've been wanting to use on this, and this is the fabric. I really love this greenish gray batik, and so I think that I'm going to use this on the outside, at least right now, and possibly, this is canvas, so it's pretty heavy, but it's a map. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this or not. It seems a little heavy, but that's the first thing I thought of to use in here was this map. But it's very much in contrast to this in the weights of the fabric. However, it's very similar in tonality, so there's not a lot of bang here. So I don't really always look for bang in my fabrics, but I really want to use this one for the outside. So that's gonna happen. So that's where I'm gonna get started. I need to first cut this down to 7.5 by 11, and we'll go from there. But I appreciate you coming along for prepping for 2025's. Oh my gosh, it's almost 2025. Can you believe it? I can hardly believe it. But for 2025's art journaling experience over, yeah. I just can't even believe that's where we're at these days. So, yeah, let's get going on creating this. Thank you for coming along.
To come undone, and there's no one there to see me through. When all my strength has been overcome, and there's nothing left for me to do but tell the truth. I'm calling out for you.
So I'm using my center ruler here and marking out where it hits at 3 3/4 on either side with the 0 centered on the mailer. And that way what I'm doing is I'm just going up the whole side and marking where that is so that I know where to cut my line. So since I want my journal to be 7.5 inches in height, I divide that by 2 and I get 3 3/4 of an inch. So from center, I need 3 3/4 inch to the right and 3 3/4 inch to the left. That will be my mark where I'm cutting it. And so you'll see here I'm going in with my Exacto blade and a resealing mat and a metal ruler to cut my edge, or really cut my edges. And once I get that cut out, I'm going to come back and measure the length. So I'm going to go a hair over 11 inches. So it's about 11 1/4, really it's probably 11 1/8 inch in length. I just want that extra little bit just so I make sure that I'm large enough in the size of my cover to my pages. And then that way, when I fold it in half, I will end up with a 5.5 inch width on this journal. So 5.5 plus 5.5 is 11 with my added little extra.
Throughout the day, throughout the years, in all my sorrow and in all my...
And I did want to point out, I have noticed with these Amazon mailers is that they have this M number. So the one I'm working on, which I consider the medium size, is an M8. And the large one, they are all numbered M9. They also have this, I guess it's envelope 16, envelope 17, but, or mailer 8, mailer 9, I don't know. But I did notice that, so that might be a telltale sign for you when you're sorting. I don't know, I save these like crazy because I hate to put them into the landfill, and I just feel like I can reuse them. And I've noticed that they do have that descriptor. So this is cut down. I changed it up a little bit. This is 7.5 by 5 with a 1 inch binding, as opposed to where I was originally going to do, it would be a 1/2 inch binding. And I just didn't feel like that was going to be enough. And I am not going to do a pocket on this, so I'm going to go ahead and glue these two together. And to do that, I'm just going to use some PVA glue that I water down.
February moon, beneath the thick snow blanket, you will soon be in bloom. Although he has you in his cold embrace, his eyes that grip are started slowly break in the stillness of...
The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give this a coat of gesso over both sides. I just don't want any of this showing through my fabric. Alright, it doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to kind of deflect a little bit of what's going on in the background. I'm going to get this side dried and go ahead and do the other side.
Underneath the February moon, your patience on the man. Although he has you in his cold embrace, his eyes that grip are started.
Alright, both sides are gessoed. I did have to do a little bit of a second coat over where the black was. This one I'm not really worried about. I did pull the fabric out and you just can't see it anymore now that it has that white on it. So I really think that this will be nice, but I need to make sure I get it on there right because this is the side that has the metallic. So I'm going to lay it like this, wrong side. I want it about 1/4 of an inch over sized. So I know this has some wrinkle in it, but I'm just not going to worry about it. So I'm going to first do this cut and rip it. And I've been thinking about maybe putting this on both the inside and the outside. That could be really cool. Let's take a look. You know, I think I am gonna do that. I love this fabric. It reminds me of nature. Okay, and now I'm just gonna do this side. I'm gonna do a little bit larger. We can always trim it later. There we go. All right, and now I'm going to do the inside piece.
Want you to know.
Now I've been thinking about possibly doing some handles. I really have liked handles, and these would work really nicely and match for handles. So this would be the time that we would need to, and I know they're the same size because we did the same thing. So this would be the time when we would want to adhere those. So I think I am going to make some handles for this.
Just leave a trace and I follow. Make a wish and I make it come true.
So the next step is to glue just down the center of this fabric to the mailer. What this does is, yes, we're still sewing, but what this does is it keeps it from buckling over time and separating. So I'm just gonna once again use a watered down version of PVA glue to do that. So I'm going to do one side, the outside first, and put my handles on the outside.
Turn around and look at me, then you'll see my love's for real. Just take a walk and I'll join you. Leave a trace and I follow. Make a wish and I make it come true. Want you to know you'll be okay. For all I know.
The key is to let this dry completely before you go to your sewing machine. Another thing about sewing this, it'll keep it from fraying too far. And then we're gonna go right along this edge and sew around, going over this area a little bit with on the inside, just to secure it a little bit more. And sometimes I even like to go up and around on these things. I usually do it beforehand, but I'm not really worried about it. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. I've never had problems with them in the past, just getting thinned out with thin material. And if I do, then I can go over it later at a later time. All right, to the sewing machine. This is still drying, but I was contemplating on using black. It just feels too stark, and then I found that I had this green. So I think I'm gonna go, it's just so nice, it's a kick, it's a punch of color, it'll go with this. It will, but it's not as stark as, say, the black. So I think this will be fun, and that's what I'm gonna go with. However, this still needs to dry fully, so there was lots of liquid layers on there, so it will be a little bit, but for you, it'll be a snap. All right, so I've gone around it 3 times. I've done some zigzag on either end of the where it meets up. So now I need to do some trimming on these edges to shorten it up a bit. So I'm going to come in with my fabric scissors, and I am going to, I don't know if I'm going to be able to rip it because it's too narrow, too small of a piece. So I'm just going to come in and trim. I'll come back out and I'll ravel or unravel. Alright, I have been busy. I've gotten all these of my granddaughter artwork. I got them all gessoed with the clear gesso and backed. So I think I made 1. And these will need to be cut down because they're very much too big. 2, 3, 4 of these. And then I made a few of some under paper. So this is a smaller one. Just under paper, slightly larger, but they're all backed. I got those ready. And then I also did a large one of a vintage map. And then I did a whole bunch of pockets. I don't know of these what I'm going to use. I'm just going to start getting them cut down to size and then make decisions. So I made a whole bunch of little pockets. So 2 pockets made into a folio. And then this one. And the opening was at the top. I just glued that closed, cut a little bit off so I have pockets on either side. This one's a little different. There is a pocket on the side here, but this one is a 2 pocket right there. And then the back side is just, I had already sewn this quite a while ago. All I did now was just add this fabric so it makes it into a folio. This was an envelope that I got, and so I used that. And then this is just one of those bags, treat bags, and I just cut it down so it was the same size as this one. And that will be the folio. These were also, the openings were here, and I just glued them shut and I gessoed them and then made the openings at either side. And then these are envelopes, and I just glued them together like that so they have the fold here, and then I just cut this end off so that we have openings here. Oh, and this one I did at the top. So I did this one slightly different. It's right here. So I have the opening there, or on this one, the openings at the side. So I have lots of choices here to be able to select from. I know I need at least 12 layouts and 12 pockets. So I should have plenty to choose from. These would, I probably can cut these down like this and get 4 out of, or 2 out of each of these, so I won't be using all of those. And probably on this one too, I could cut it. And then, so that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to get these, well, all of these cut down to size and use this as my kind of my template, and then we'll figure out what we're gonna do for signatures. So like for this one, I'm not gonna cut it down this way, but I'm gonna cut it down on one of these ends and make it slightly smaller. So, and that's just, this one's gonna be a little bit shorter, but again, I'm just gonna trim it down this way. So this should be fun. Variety to go in here. And yeah. So that's what's next. Getting these all cut down. Alright, I have them all cut down. I have decided I probably want 3 signatures. I don't have a lot of room, maybe 2 really. I don't know, we'll see. Because I know how much bulk I add. And I have really lost a lot of that awesome sound that these mailers make. And I think it's because how much gesso and how much glue I ended up putting on this. And that's kind of one of the pitfalls of using a thin paper, is that you do have to gesso them. And so I think because it got so many layers, liquid layers on there, we really lost that crinkle that I really love. I know I need at least 12 signatures, and 12 layouts, so that's easy. Let me see what we can do with doing 2 signatures. So there is 2 signatures with 3 sheets and 1 envelope folio. And that is just over 12 layouts. So our next step is to sew these. I think I want to use some DMC floss, which means I will need to wax it. I really like how this dark green looks. This green is also nice. So our next step is to get these waxed up.
Stars beneath the skies in darkest darkness.
All right, so now we need to prep our DMC floss. So usually I used a wax binding thread. This is all waxed. It makes it smooth. You can pull it tighter, and so I prefer to use it waxed. So I'm gonna wax these before I use them. So I'm just gonna go through the wax. I usually go through around 3 times through the wax. Okay, now we are set to start punching holes. I'm going to just do a standard 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Okay, we are going to eyeball it. I'm going to get these all nestled in here tightly, and then I'm going to clip them.
But tell the truth, I'm calling out for you. When I am strong, when I am weak, if I feel forgotten, you remember me. I'm calling out for you. I'm calling out for you. When I am empty and all dried up, when I feel lonely and I'm not enough, I'm calling out for you. I'm calling out. When all my plans start to come undone and there's no one there to see me through.
All right, now that those are punched, I'm going to start with my furthest signature, my back signature. And now I'm gonna punch the holes in through the journal cover, so I can see them here. I'm gonna push through a little bit deeper, and then I'm gonna sew. I put push through a little bit deeper because I'm going to use a large-eyed needle. Alright, so I want the tail on the inside, I don't want it on the outside, so I'm going to start in the center hole, going through the signature and the cover, and leave a tail. And I'm going to go to the bottom hole, go through again the cover and then the signature. I'm going to take that all the way to the top hole and go through the top hole. That leaves my tail on the right side of the thread. So I am going to come back through the center, not splitting the thread, and coming up on the other side of that stitch. And you pull tight. That's where that wax comes in handy, is being able to pull tight. You don't want it loose in here, or else you'll have a very loose signature. And then you're going to do a square knot and then cut down. And then we're going to go to the first signature and do the same thing. Again, going through the center from the inside to the outside, leaving a tail, going down to the bottom hole and back through on the signatures, bottom set of holes, then going to the top, and make sure your thread's on one side. You're going to come back through without splitting the thread. That's where another reason why the wax comes in handy, because it helps keep everything together and keep it from splitting. And we're going to come up on the other side of the thread. Pull that tight and a square knot. So there we go. We have our journal for next year. I'm excited. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about what my plan is. I have decided what I want to do is more journaling. I've really gotten away from journaling in my art journals, and so I want to get back to that. And something that I've decided is that I've created some journaling prompts, and I'm just gonna pull one each time that we meet. So once a month I'm gonna pull a journaling prompt. I've created a whole bunch of them, well more than what is needed. I only need 12, but I created a whole bunch of these, and I am gonna make these available as a free download if you want them. I'm gonna cut them all out and put them in a bucket and draw them each month, and then I'm gonna journal on my page using these prompts, and then after that I'm going to art on the page. If you are wanting to do the same thing, I will, these are a download. You will find the link down below if you're interested in these journaling prompts. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to our first time meeting in this journal. I will not be doing the cover until the journal is complete, so I will probably at the end of the year have a video where I am doing the front cover, and then I will do a flip through of the journal if it's complete. Well, thank you for coming along. I hope to see you in 2025 when we jump into this new art journal.